This is the Speak For Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. Missed you on Monday, everybody, but we're back to talk NFL. Whitlock thinks the pressure on Mike Tomlin is something that is going to be very good for the Steelers. Colin believes what Matt Ryan is doing is not the same as what Aaron Rodgers is doing. One is elevating a team, one is simply carrying a team. Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard breaks down the Warriors' rivalry. Yes, it is a rivalry, LeBron, sorry, with King James. Former NFL head coach Eric Mangini tells us that Tom Brady's greatest trait is to make so many other people better than they are. And Pro Football Hall of Famer Chris Carter tells us Dallas is doing the right thing by not shipping off Tony Romo, even though he's eating up 14% of their salary cap next year. Ready for Speak For Yourself? Cowherd and Whitlock, take it away.
All right, welcome to the show. Colin actually thinks there's a chance Tom Brady could be on his way out of New England.
I do, and Jason thinks there's somebody playing just as well as Aaron Rodgers. Speak For Yourself starts right now.
Man, they may have put some words in my mouth there.
Well, they didn't put them in mine.
All right, hello and welcome. Joining Cowherd and I on the panel today are Hall of Famer Chris Carter and former NFL head coach Eric Mangini. Let's start with Aaron Rodgers, whose heroics on Sunday sent the Packers to the NFC Championship game. Rodgers' incredible play during Green Bay's 8-game winning streak has everyone in awe, including the guy he might end up facing in the Super Bowl, Tom Brady.
Well, I think he does things that no one in the league has ever done or can do, just because of his physical ability. I always love watching his tape, admiring all the things that he can do, because I can't do many of those things.
All right, Colin, I really believe Tom Brady thinks Aaron Rodgers is on a different level than every other quarterback, including Tom Brady. Do you believe Brady?
I think Tom thinks he's not as talented as him. I mean, if you look at sports, watch an NBA game. Players celebrate other players going down the league and jamming. You can watch the bench. All-star game, three-point shooting contest. In soccer, the only sport that seems reluctant to embrace the other guy or a young guy is baseball. There's a way to play. Yasiel Puig, come on, man, take your time. But by and large, every singer was like the late Whitney Houston, Beyonce, Jay-Z. Entertainers largely understand and respect other entertainers.
I don't think it's just, though, about Aaron Rodgers' physical gifts. I think he's in a zone because he's always had these physical gifts and always been a great player in the NFL for a long time. I think what Tom is acknowledging is he's gone to a level that's unprecedented.
Well, especially Tom's 39 now. I think Tom realizes in the moment, okay, Aaron's playing. He said it. He's doing things I can't do.
And things I don't know if any quarterback has ever done. And sure, someone else may do it later, but this is Michael Jordan-esque. This is Michael Jackson-esque. This is unbelievable.
When you were in your prime, now Tom's not though, but at the end of your career like Tom, were there receivers you watched, Chris, and went, man, I used to be able to do that?
Yeah, and it really has nothing to do with your prime. It has nothing to do when you started in the league. You're obvious. We've watched hundreds and hundreds of hours of tape. There's a certain amount of respect for guys that can do. I have been in the league 11 years. We drafted Randy Moss. Brian Billick said, well, Chris, because he came down to train with me, Chris, what do you think? I said, when I leave the game, he should be the best receiver in the game. He can do things, Coach, that I can't do, but he could also do things that I could think of, but I couldn't do. So Tom sees that in Aaron Rodgers. It's no disrespect to his own ability, but that's what the National Football, it's the best of the best. And Tom is saying, out of respect, there are things athletically that he can do. There's things where he throws off a platform that I can't do, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And I think that's what Tom respects most is the physical ability that he has and his ability to make plays in the pocket, his ability to make plays out of the pocket. He's showing more and more of an understanding of coverages, where to go. That has developed, too, with Aaron Rodgers. And I'd say the other thing is his poise. In that game, the most anxious I saw him is when someone else had to do something. He was completely calm when he had to make a play in a big moment, and I'm sure a guy like Tom respects that. Now, all that being said, Tom's pretty unique in his own right. He's got an amazing sense of poise. There was never a point.
He ain't that unique, though.
Yeah, he
ain't on this level.
He's on this level. He's won. He makes people around him better.
He ain't on Aaron Rodgers.
You're talking talent, though. You're just
no. I'm talking.
Why do we
like
talk accomplishments?
That's one thing.
He's the most accomplished.
And Tom Brady consistently makes the people around him better. That, to me, is the greatest trait he has.
Tom Brady does some things that are truly amazing. Watch his ball placement. Watch his read and information of the defense. Watch how many times, for me, watch how many times I think they're in a bad play, and Tom gets them out of that bad play by getting rid of the ball, changing the protection, a number of things. Tom is very, very special. And if I had one quarterback to win a game, I wouldn't take Aaron Rodgers. I would take Tom Brady.
You would be wrong. And so, listen.
My opinion can't be
we might have one game where we're going to see these two quarterbacks, and we'll figure out who ends up winning.
And Eric and Chris and everybody. To me, I've seen quarterbacks move a defense with their eyes. I've seen quarterbacks move a defense with their feet, and I've never seen him do it all at the same time. Feet, eyes, everything, move a defense, manipulate a defense.
You keep using the word see. Nobody in any business, politics to football, ever gets credit for the disasters they avoid. Nobody ever talks about the pilot that avoids the storm. Tom does a lot of things I'm not sophisticated enough to see. Because Brady audibles out of disasters.
I'm not going to speculate.
Aaron's ceiling is amazing. But when I've talked to numerous Brady teammates, they all say, if you only, they're like, the game's won on Thursday with Tom.
There's only one guy, when Dallas spiked the ball on that drive, and I was like, oh, man, they're going to give this man some clock. All he needs is 35, 40 seconds. He got 2 timeouts sitting on the board. There's only one quarterback in the history of the league, 40 seconds left. I knew they're going to pay for
I always felt like that.
Tom Brady, Joe Montana.
I do.
Not with 30, 40 seconds left.
In fairness, your evaluation of quarterbacks, you also love Carson Wentz and put him in all that. I'm just saying, if we're going to evaluate Carson Wentz, as quarterbacks.
I get that joke,
You're
but that's
saying
a whole
you're the
different
only
deal.
person that thinks that. No, you're not. With Peyton Manning 40 seconds to me, I'm going to tie the game.
Peyton Manning in postseason, go look at the numbers.
No, Peyton Manning with 40 seconds, my opinion is, I always thought, oh, crap, you gave Peyton Manning 40 seconds. That's your opinion with Aaron, but that's, I've always felt that.
There's one guy that keeps throwing these Hail Mary passes.
By the way, if Aaron's so great, why do we talk about his hot streaks? Because he's had 2 in 8 years. Tom doesn't dip. He doesn't dip.
Listen. This guy just turned a wide receiver into a running back and is carrying him to the NFC
this year.
Well, someone's done it before?
Take responsibility for that 4-6 record, though.
If 4-6 and sitting in the NFC Championship game, I'll take it every year.
This year, the narrative on Aaron was he should have more playoff wins. That's never been Tom's narrative.
The narrative written by you was
written by a lot of people. He was a 500.
Other people who thought that way. Other people have been like, hey, man, we were sitting here talking about how Green Bay's personnel's no good. We were sitting here talking about how their defense is weak. We were sitting here talking about
skilled guys
Dallas has an incredible resume and the best team. And they went into Dallas because of one guy and beat him.
But Tom Brady, historically, regardless of who's been around him, has found a way to win. He's taken has taken receivers that other teams would never have on the roster and turned them into millionaires.
And coach, it's never going to be one guy. We can make the narrative one guy, but Aaron Rodgers tells the guard, pull out in front of me on the last play. I want you to get out in front of me. I'm going to change the play. 2 crossing guys. Cook comes across and catches the ball. So there's a lot of good things that happen for we give one guy credit. Both of these guys are great, and Tom Brady is not wrong in saying, I admire his athleticism. But Tom Brady don't admire no one's resume more than himself.
Well, we're not talking about resume. In my opinion, we're talking about the greatest performance we've ever seen.
To me, Brady, 67 guys have caught a touchdown pass from him. You haven't heard of 30 of them. That's amazing.
All right, welcome back to the show. Joining the panel again are Chris Carter and Eric Mangini. Let's move to Dallas, guys, where the Cowboys season came to an end Sunday, but their quarterback controversy might not have. This morning, Jerry Jones said during his weekly radio interview that Tony Romo is, quote, capable of doing what Aaron Rodgers did this weekend, and the Cowboys, quote, have a lot to think about. Head coach Jason Garrett declined to talk about the Cowboys' quarterback situation going forward.
I don't want to get into all those discussions right now, and we'll have those discussions as an organization. Dak Prescott certainly did an amazing job for us this year.
Colin, after what Dak Prescott did this year, do you think the Cowboys owe it to him to move on from Romo?
Well, I think he earned it. I don't think he deserves it. I think he earned it. I would wonder what the message is to that locker room on that young team if you watch Dak, who's an MVP, and you did not give him the job. I mean, because coaches always sell, you play and earn your role. If I play that well and I lose only because Aaron Rodgers is a witch, okay, and you don't say you get the job, I mean, Coach, you would know. What's the message? You got to tell players, that's an incredible MVP level year.
Look, we talk about owing someone something. I don't think you owe him the job based off his one season. He got the job because Tony Romo was injured. He didn't get the job because he outplayed Tony Romo in a competition. The other part of this is, why not keep both guys? We see it every single year where a quarterback gets hurt, especially early in the season, like we saw in Minnesota, and then you've got to go and try to jerry-rig things together.
About 10 times a year.
Easily. And now you've got a guy like Tony Romo or Dak Prescott, however it works out, who is your second. You've got a chance to compete no matter whether you got an injury or not.
How does it play, though?
Hold on, Eric. You don't think they owed it to Dak to say he is our guy? You may want to keep both, but hasn't Dak earned the starting job? Shouldn't they?
What do they owe to Tony Romo for all his years?
No. Do they owe Dak to say it's our job?
I think they owe him? If you're looking,
is it odd that they didn't say that?
No, I don't think it's odd they didn't say it. It's right after the season. They've got to see what's happening, and they got to go into training camp and figure out where they are.
And we got to create some value for Tony Romo. The way you create value is like we might keep him. You know, he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. And Jerry's saying, hey, you know something? We got a guy that's capable of doing some things. Now, I don't believe they have to make the decision publicly, but privately, because we have the end of the season meeting where you sit down with the coach and the coach tells you what he thinks about you, what type of season you had, and what he's thinking about the future. Now, what went on in that meeting is more important than what they say publicly.
Okay, so, again, this is not my opinion about what they should do. But when I hear them not commit, I think that maybe Jerry Jones has some harebrained idea. Let's elevate the trade value of both guys.
No.
Jerry's sitting there. Tony can do what Aaron Rodgers did.
They can't
He's in win now.
They can't trade him.
Why?
Okay? Because of the organization and because of the team and because of the following. What is your future? You're going to trade away Dak and keep Tony Romo?
I would agree. Then why not just say he's our guy? He just played his tail off.
He's making, $600,000? I mean, he's a ridiculous bargain for that position. That's why you can keep both those guys going into next season. The net that you get out of getting rid of Tony Romo is $5 million. And then when you have to replace him, it's such a small number. I know what his cap number is. It's $24 million. But when you cut him, you still have a $19 million cap hit.
Yes.
So if you keep both for the difference of $5 million, you got a chance no matter if one gets hurt.
And you also have the ability to do what Philadelphia did. There are going to be injuries this summer. There are going to be injuries in training camp. Hold on to him as long as you can. And that's why they were able to fetch the first and the 4 from Minnesota, because they had him on the roster compared to making the decision this offseason that we as the public wanted them to make because they had made the high pick in Carson Wentz.
How does it play to players when Dak does everything as a 4th rounder and you don't
There's a business, man. You work for a boss.
And if you're Chris Carter and Dak gets hurt, you're really happy that Tony Romo's on the team.
Again,
you're really happy.
I'm not denying that, but I'm saying, shouldn't you show the respect that if you play this well as a 4th rounder, it is your job now to
It's the NFL, though, guys. It's about competition. You're not just going to ship off competition because you feel indebted to a rookie. No, you keep it's a commodities business. Don't give away your commodities to someone else, which only creates value for the Cowboys in having the 2 quarterbacks.
And you're going to tell every other position on the team, you got to compete. We're going to bring young guys in to compete with you. Now, the quarterback, he doesn't have to compete, but everybody else has to fight for their job. Why? I think competition is good. It's healthy.
Maybe Dak.
I'm sitting here dumbfounded and blown away.
Well,
I've been very suspicious of Dak, but damn it, he just went toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers, played a great game. I was thinking
Jason, this might be the conversation privately. Dak, you're our quarterback of the future. All right, we're going to go into this offseason and we're going to leverage this thing as much as we can.
I would be okay with that. If you're sitting him down, that's fine. I'm okay being lied to. I'm in the media. It's happened my whole life. I really am. I'm okay being lied to. I've got kids and everything daily. But that decision,
if Jerry Jones thought that Tony Romo could do what Aaron Rodgers did, he would have been in the freaking game.
I think if that game had gone a little bit further at 21-3, he would have been in that game.
Well, trust me, I thought that the whole time. But yeah, I was glad Aikman brought that up.
Welcome back. Joining the panel now, Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard, the founder of the Big Lead, Jason McIntyre. Let's go to LeBron and the Cavs, who got blown out by the Warriors last night, ending Golden State's 4-game skid against Cleveland. LeBron said after the game that he doesn't view the Warriors as rival, but Draymond Green disagreed, saying, quote, regardless of whether LeBron thinks it's a rivalry or not, they want to beat us and we want to beat them. Whitlock, are the Warriors LeBron's biggest rival?
In LeBron's mind, no. I think in LeBron's mind, his rival is Michael Jordan. I think in competitive basketball sense, hell yes, they're his rival. And Draymond Green certainly thinks so. And Draymond Green delivered that shoulder-to-shoulder hit intentionally. I think it's really the only thing the NBA's got going is the rivalry between these two teams. And so, LeBron may be mentally in a place where I'm above everybody else.
I think he is.
But this is a rivalry.
I think he is. Now he could be wrong. Yeah. But Facebook doesn't consider Google its rival. It considers its rival the government. It doesn't want to be broken up. It owns the internet. So Facebook doesn't look at the other, Googles and Apples. I think LeBron sees himself chasing history. Partly we're to blame for that because, the minute he wins titles, we say we're not 6 for 6. But now again, he could be wrong, but I think LeBron, the gap between LeBron and the second best player, now that we've watched Steph in the finals, I think it's really wide. And I don't think he sees Golden State or any other player in his galaxy.
Well, I think you're right with players, but obviously this is a rivalry, the Warriors and the Cavs. And the difference is this. With San Antonio, he met them 3 times in the finals. They didn't have any other compelling players off the court like LeBron. Now, Tim Duncan, first time they played, the Cavs were terrible. That wasn't a good matchup. The second time and third time in Miami, Duncan was toward the end of his career, so that didn't match up. Now you've got with Steph Curry, a player who not only last year, let's face it, he snatched the face of the league from LeBron. Yep. LeBron snatched it back in the finals, but last year that was a legitimate rivalry. And still, even with Durant being the Warriors' best player, I would say that Steph is probably the second face of the league behind LeBron. So I do think this is more of a legitimate rivalry, not just basketball-wise, but, in terms of personalities.
I mean, Whitlock's definitely onto something. This is the only thing happening in the NBA. You can't talk about Harden Westbrook online. It doesn't move the meter like Cavs Warriors.
Triple-doubles getting old.
No, it's just not happening. I mean, it's all about Warriors Cavs. And listen, the NBA has great rivalries in the past. Lakers-Celtics, legendary. This is the new Lakers-Celtics. Yeah. Here's a stat for you guys. Never before in NBA history has there been 3 straight same matchup in the finals. And we're going to see it, Cavs-Warriors in the finals this year.
Never in the before. 3 major sports, football, baseball included, not since the 1920s have 2 teams met 3 straight years.
One of the things that the NBA, I felt, has always had going for it is what college football has, these sustained rivalries. In college football, it's because of the geography. Auburn, Alabama are always going to be rivals. NFL doesn't have them because it's hard to maintain outside of New England greatness. Baseball, again, your pitching staff. It's hard to be great. Even the St. Louis Cardinals don't make the playoffs. But in the NBA, if you've got 2 or 3 great players, you're good for a decade. I mean, the Lakers you knew with Magic as a rookie. All right, see you for your 12 years. The NBA has, outside of college football, generally really good personal and team rivalries. I do think there is an issue, though, is that Durant hasn't lived up to his end of the deal. For about 4 years, he was the league's second best player. He never won. So I do believe there's a gap in this sport right now.
He still is right now. You would say, right?
But I would say there's a. I grew up with rivalries in the NBA. I think there's one now.
I'm gonna push back a little bit against your narrative there. The NBA has made it totally about the individual players and not the teams. So the NFL may not have rivalries, but they have great teams, great franchises. The NBA doesn't have that. And I think that's what's missing here in terms. LeBron individually is so far above everyone else.
So, but could I make the argument with the Lakers down, the Knicks down, Philadelphia down, the big markets?
Celtics.
Yeah, like the rivalries now aren't about teams.
It's about individuals.
It's about individuals.
Like you said, that's how David Stern grew the sport. He made it about individuals. So even if the team is bad, there's an individual on that team you want to go see.
For the Steelers, who got the win on Sunday but didn't get out of Kansas City unscathed. After the game, Antonio Brown decided to, I just like saying this, live stream what happened in the Steelers locker room, catching Mike Tomlin's uncensored post-game speech, which had some, choice words about the Patriots. Tomlin apologized for his language today, but had a strong message for Antonio Brown.
It was foolish of him to do that. It was selfish for him to do that, and it was inconsiderate for him to do that. I think that's oftentimes why you see great players move around from team to team. And I definitely don't want that to be his story. I'm sure he doesn't want that to be his story. So he has to address these things.
All right, Jace, the team's about to play in the AFC Championship, and we're talking about Facebook live streaming video. You know what I've said about Tomlin. Does he have control of the team?
You know what I smell? Bacon cooking. That's what that is. We put a fire under Mike Tomlin, and I love it. He's now turning into bacon, cooked bacon. He's needed some pressure put on him. He needs to thank Terry Bradshaw every day for putting that pressure on him. He's gone after Antonio Brown appropriately. Yes. Has their culture been loose? Is this guy trying to clean it up? Absolutely. And they're this close to winning the Super Bowl because the pressure's been put on him. He's performing like a great coach, and now he's starting to hold these guys accountable. I blame Antonio Clown far more than I do Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's trying to...
I don't blame him for swearing. That's a coach.
No. I'm talking about in terms of the culture that's being set. Mike Tomlin's trying to change that culture and button it up, and Antonio Brown has done something that... it was classless, it was selfish, it was everything that Mike Tomlin said it was. You don't do that in the locker room. That's supposed to be sacred among your teammates.
I almost look at New England and Pittsburgh. I mean, they're both great, right? Like, not every culture's the same. New England's efficient, detail-oriented, got an IBM feel to it. Pittsburgh's a little more emotional. It's got a little Google, Virgin America, they're dancing on the planes feel to it, Southwest Airlines. They both work, but not every culture's the same. The way New England runs is, we're never going to overpay, we don't need stars. Pittsburgh's like, we like stars. We're very emotional. Now, I have knocked Pittsburgh's efficiency because I think offense is mostly about efficiency. They are on third down with Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, 2 Pro Bowlers in the offensive line and Big Ben, 12th in third down efficiency. To me, that's not good enough for that personnel. You should be better than that. But
Atlanta has better personnel, and they're 11th in third down efficiency. But go ahead.
Well, but Pittsburgh, over the course of this year, an emotional franchise, I think overachieved on defense. I think their secondary right now is overachieving for the personnel.
Since week number 11,
I think the emotional deal is a fair knock last year. I think if I've been watching Pittsburgh this year, now that there's been some pressure applied on Mike Tomlin, they've cleaned up. On the field, I haven't seen a lot of...
I think the idea, like the smelling bacon...
Yeah, they put some fire on this guy.
No, I smell something else with that. The idea that Bradshaw's comments or the media's comments on Mike Tomlin has changed the way that he is coached, I think you don't appreciate and understand Mike Tomlin. I think in that situation, there are difficult guys that he has to deal with. He's not given credit for all the problems that don't get out, for the efficiency they have had with guys that are difficult to deal with, where you see on the other teams, those guys become even bigger issues. Is this a problem with the live streaming? Yeah. Did he handle it? Did he send a very clear message?
Yes.
I've seen stars go to a lot of other teams. That's pretty clear as to what's going to happen if you do that again.
What it smells like to me is a baby's diaper, because there is no NFL coach that's getting motivated by any announcer, Hall of Famer, or whatever.
Totally untrue. I listened to Michael Jordan give a whole Hall of Fame speech about every critic he ever had. I've listened to coaches, everybody, Dabo Swinney, everybody responds
when
to criticism.
Dabo Swinney was preparing for the last drive, you think he was thinking about this guy?
No, but if you go back to earlier in the season and what motivation he used to inspire himself.
I've had all kind of guys say things about me, and I wasn't motivated by it.
Other athletes, other coaches, are you kidding me?
But you get that feeling from watching Mike Tomlin.
100%.
You think he's in his office reading the clips going,
I don't.
Oh, my God, look what Colin said about me.
No, I don't.
I'm really going to have to change.
I don't think it's that
do you
simple.
think, is it fair to say this, that Tomlin has received some criticism recently, the tripping Joey Porter on the field.
Right, of
And there
course.
has been a narrative that, Mike, you're not buttoned up. And in the offseason, he made it a mantra, guys, we got to button this up. Is that fair?
Guys, just like the Joey Porter thing. I told you that would be resolved. I told you what it was. I told you I had talked to him, and it was resolved.
Right.
And that's not always a reflection on the coach. All right? Things happen in the NFL locker room. Now, Mike Tomlin has the stomach, but I think the players, what they look for is consistency. So going through this criticism, was Mike Tomlin, was he consistent with his personality? That's what the players respect, and that's what the players are responding to. The players are playing up to their ability. They're not playing beyond their ability. This is the talent level of the Pittsburgh Steelers and what we expected from them in September. They just caught fire at the end of the season.
Eric, I want to say one thing. You said, is he sitting around going like this? No, he's not. What he did do when Terry Bradshaw lit his ass up on this show, Mike Tomlin went out to a press conference and took a pot shot at Terry Bradshaw and played the Hollywood Henderson can't spell cat card. Don't tell me. I know Gunther Cunningham, when he woke up every day on the internet trying to read everything that was ever said. No, but he had a long career. He's not the only coach.
As a defense assistant.
He's not the only coach.
He was a very good defensive coordinator.
He's not the only coach that
responds
to criticism.
Look, I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that Mike is him taking a pop shot at Terry. I think it was fair game. It was a one-off. It was like, you're going to take that cheap shot at me. I'm going to take a cheap shot back. It was just it was a shot over the bow of, okay, let's move on.
I thought it was fairly playful by Tomlin. Can I give Tomlin?
It didn't seem that malicious.
No. Can I say this about Tom? I've been critical of Tomlin.
Yeah.
He is, in my opinion, the best press conference head coach I have ever seen in football.
That's not a compliment.
Well, why not? No, Rex. No. What? It's not. In crisis on the podium.
It's not a compliment.
There's never been a guy that good.
People see what they want to see.
You don't think
I like Mike Tomlin. I like him. I like his X's and O's. I like the way he handles his players. Now, you guys might say he's a little careless or whatever. I like Mike Tomlin. He's got a very difficult job, and that's why there's only a few of them.
And I like Mike Tomlin, too. I think he has to deal with a lot of difficult situations that we never hear about, and I think he does it very well. And to say he's not buttoned up, it just depends on how many fires he's putting out. Eventually, someone's going to smell a little bit of smoke, but he's contained a lot of that stuff. I
actually love Mike Tomlin, and this is the Mike Tomlin I've always wanted to see, but we needed to put some pressure on him to get it out of him. To Atlanta, where Rodgers will take on Matt Ryan in this Sunday's NFC Championship game. Everyone's talking about Aaron Rodgers and who's been incredible during the Packers' 8-game winning streak, but Matt Ryan has very quietly had a stellar year and just embarrassed one of the league's best defenses. Colin, I think Matt Ryan is playing well enough to stop Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Do you agree?
Yes, he is playing well enough. But Aaron's carrying a beat-up team with no running game. Matt has been elevated by terrific coordinator Kyle Shanahan, an accompaniment of really, really good Alex Mack at center, star receiver. I like Matt Ryan. And I'm not saying he's Andy Dalton. What I'm saying is there are a lot of quarterbacks in this league that when they get excellent support, they can play at a high level. Kirk Cousins. Aaron is carrying now a team that is using backups to backups at safety, corner, running back. Aaron's carrying Green Bay.
I get it, and trust me, Aaron Rodgers is incredible right now. Matt Ryan's just a cut below. He's the closest we have going right now in terms of ball placement, steadiness in the pocket. He's not nearly as athletic, but he does move with his feet well enough in the pocket and moves people with his... it's not Aaron Rodgers, but it's close. I think he can outscore them in a shootout inside that dome.
I do think if it becomes a shootout, he has a distinct advantage with the supporting cast that he has in place, and where they are in terms of health, and they've had some time they had the week off. They're in such a better position than Green Bay is. Green Bay has that incredible momentum going into this game, but the support staff that Matt Ryan has right now, at some point, this magic could run out. There's only so many incredible plays that Aaron Rodgers can make.
Vegas does this for a living. Vegas just watched what we watched in Dallas and said Atlanta's favored. I mean, I think if you, like to your point, Atlanta's stacked.
Yes.
They are stacked offensively.
They got 2 running backs, scored 24 touchdowns during the regular season. They got 3 receivers. They're better at all skill positions than Dallas combined. And I'll take their 2 running backs over Ezekiel because their ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, their tight end, their receivers. Cole Beasley is not better than Gabriel in the slot in the way they utilize the overall speed. Julio is not nearly as good as Dez Bryant. So for me, how do you slow him down? You have to take him out of the running game. 6 times this year they didn't rush for 100 yards. They're 3-3 in those games. So if you're going to slow down Matty Ice, you have to take him, make him one-dimensional, make him throw the ball, and you can't give up the big plays down the field.
See, the other problem Green Bay has is Atlanta does a good job with shifting, motioning, personnel groups, things that force defenses to make communication or to have communication when you've got backups in the secondary, and they're now forced to not just play, but to communicate and get all those post-snap, pre-snap decisions right. That creates another level of problems with young guys and with injuries.
Here's what I worry about, though. I mean, here's Aaron Rodgers. Let's just take the last 8 weeks because teams evolve. Let's just say Green Bay's a different team. They've beaten, just think about all these teams. The Giants, Minnesota, Philadelphia, Houston. It's all the good defenses. He's dropping 32 a game, Houston, on good defenses. I think Atlanta's small defensively. I don't think they're imposing. I do think they cover a lot.
They got a lot of speed.
But if you're telling me Green Bay now gets Aaron Rodgers on a fast track with a less daunting defense, he's lighting up the Giants. He's lighting up the best defenses, Philadelphia, Minnesota.
Now we're back to my original point in the question I was trying to ask. I believe everything you just said. I think Matt Ryan is the one quarterback that can go touchdown for touchdown, back up and go on the field.
Pieces.
Yeah.
Because of him.
You're talking about Houston, Minnesota. They don't have no offense. Between the 2 of them, they don't even have one offense.
I think Matt Ryan is elite. I think he's better than what you're giving him.
Underrated. I think people don't give him enough credit.
Yes.
People look at the arsenal and say, man, that's a Bentley. But you got to drive the Bentley and not wreck it.
Yes.
And there's a certain amount of credit that should be given to that coach.
And I spent a lot of time with Matt Ryan when he came out of college, and he was one of the most impressive interviews that I've had with a young college quarterback. So I'm sure that with the work ethic he had, the intelligence that he showed, the instincts that he had, that just keeps getting better. So I'm a huge fan, and I could see him making that leap this year.
This is the Speak for Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. Earlier today, we asked all our Twitter followers, is Matt Ryan playing as well as Aaron Rodgers right now? And based on the responses, so few, I think everybody was like, wait a minute, what the hell are you guys talking about? Newsflash, I was not the one who posited this question. Is Matt Ryan playing as well as Aaron Rodgers? That's preposterous. Rodgers is on another level. It's absurd. We got one really quality response. At Noleman, IU fan, numbers don't lie. Matt Ryan is playing better than the insurance salesman. Dude, come on. You should be banned from Twitter for a week for that lunacy. On no level is Matt Ryan playing better right now than Aaron Rodgers. He loses Jordy Nelson, hangs 38 on the Giants, and then goes for 31 in Dallas, including a legendary 3rd and 20. Stop. It's Aaron Rodgers. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Tell all your friends. We're on Twitter at SFY. Peep us on Facebook and Instagram. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.